Welcome to Commanders Daily, everybody. I'm Bob Matthews. This is your one-stop shop for everything going on with the Local 53. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss a minute of it. Well, we have made it to full squad OTAs. That's right. Tomorrow, the entire team is going to be in Ashburn for the first OTA workout with both veterans and rookies. So what does that mean? Is we're going to see a lot of big guys in bucket hats going through some walkthroughs. Now, okay, that's most of what we're going to see, but there will be a little bit of news. A couple of things that I'm looking for. Number one is, what does the offensive line look like when they get out there? Again, they're going to put out first unit, second unit, third unit. So what's this going to look like? Commanders drafted an offensive tackle in the first round this year. They drafted offensive linemen last year, and of course, Laramie Tunstall. So how is this going to look? Laramie Tunstall, they signed him to be the starting left tackle in free agency. Aside from Tunstall, and probably center Tyler Biotish, I think there might be a lot of fluidity in the offensive line. I think you're going to see a lot of combinations. Dan Quinn has said nobody has got to, just about everybody has got to earn their starting positions again. I think with the exception of those two. You don't sign Laramie Tunstall to a contract and tell him he's got to compete against a bunch of people. In fact, Adam Peters even said when they signed him, LT is going to be the LT. So I think that position is safe. And of course, Biotish, the center, is the quarterback of your offensive line. He's not going anywhere. I think the other three spots are kind of up for grabs, especially with Sam Cosmi out right now, at least until the end of October. It's going to be interesting to see how it finally shakes out. Also, perhaps for the first time in OTAs, we're going to see rookie Trey Amos, defensive back, on the field in the nickel package at the same time with Mike Samverstill and Marshawn Lattimore. That is going to be interesting to see as well. So those are the two things I think that we will be seeing, that we want to see once the Commanders get on the field tomorrow. There is some personnel stuff that we need to go over in the last couple of weeks. And again, this time of year is content click season, but there's been a lot of speculation over what did the Commanders do when it comes to edge rusher. Didn't do anything in free agency, really. They re-signed Dietrich Wise, okay, but it's hardly, a guy that you're pinning your hopes on. Lost Dante Fowler, so what does this mean for the edge rushers? We've already heard in a couple of press conferences, both Quinn and Witt, Joe Witt Jr., the defensive coordinator, say that part of that strategy of not going after any edge rushers means they're going to be generating a lot more pressure with blitz packages. But there are some names out there that I think still could really help this team, and you're not going to get them for too high of a price. One of them is a guy that's an unrestricted free agent right now because he was just let go. And that's Jadeveon Clowney. Big name, too, right? Well, the Panthers let Clowney go, and when you look at his numbers, analytically at least, Jadeveon Clowney looks pretty good. Now, again, we don't know how both Witt and Quinn think that Jadeveon Clowney would potentially fit into the Commanders' scheme. You can't just go out and start, signing people willy-nilly. Is he a fit in the scheme? I don't know that. I don't think a lot of people out there know that. But if you want to look at Clowney's numbers last year and his analytics, look at his PFF grades. We love PFF here, but look at his PFF grades. Going down the stretch last year, especially, he was a pretty effective pass rusher. As a matter of fact, when you look at those grades, he had a grade over 70 weeks 10 through 18 every week but one. Now, again, to put that in context, PFF says that any grade over 70 is considered a starting quality grade. So Jadeveon Clowney still has a lot of gas left in the tank, I think. He would be relatively cheap. You don't have to give up any draft capital for him. Sign him to a 2-3 year deal, make all the money guaranteed in the first year, or the majority of it guaranteed in the first year, and you can probably get him. But again, is he a fit for the scheme? You don't want him every down. You just want him for pass rushing. I don't know. That one could be kind of interesting. It would not surprise me to see them going after Jadeveon Clowney sometime before training camp starts. Another name you might want to keep your eye on, Cameron Jordan from the New Orleans Saints. Now, the Saints are going to be horrible this year. Jordan's a vet. obviously he's probably not really fired up about another rebuilding process, especially when their quarterback situation is, let's face it, just a complete tire fire right now. They're going with a kid they picked 40th in the draft. He's competing against Spencer Rattler for the starting job. So would Jordan want to move on? Now, his numbers not quite as good as Clowney's, when again, according to PFF. But here's a situation where you get a veteran guy who has had success in the past, and you pair him with obviously upgraded talent that he's playing with right now with the Commanders on a contending team. And who knows, maybe he has a renaissance. But the problem there is New Orleans would want draft capital because he is under contract. I think that one would probably, unless Quinn and Witt see something on tape that they say, this guy is a perfect fit for us and we see him getting 10 sacks in our system next year, I don't think that he's one that they would be willing, that Adam Peters would be willing to give up any draft capital on. And let's face it, there are more than one way to sack a quarterback, and if they feel confident in what they're doing, you have to give the benefit of the doubt to Dan Quinn, Joe Witt, and Adam Peters. They made all the right moves last year. No reason to think they won't make the right moves again next year. Finally, there still may be a chance that they could add a safety. And Jalen Ramsey is still out there. That talk is still going around. Now, again, analytically, and when you lose Jeremy Chin, you would like to replace him with somebody. And yeah, Ramsey would be, even today, would be a really good option. Again, you want him for his coverage skills and for his tackling. Pretty good on the run defense. Not a great tackler last year. Pretty good in coverage. Again, a 71.9 grade in coverage last year. And you look at his body of work, obviously, since coming into the league in 2016. Last year, not one of the worst years of his career, but certainly not one of the best. Again, it's all about scheme. Can he fit into the scheme? And with the guys around him, does he get you better results than he did last year? Oh, by the way, he's also a pretty darn good pass rusher. So again, if you don't go edge, here's a guy that you can put in the box, maybe get some pressure off him. Like we said, there is more than one way to sack a quarterback. All right, that's going to do it for us. Again, OTAs starting tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see how those two issues resolve themselves with both the offensive line and what we see in the defensive backfield. We will talk about it tomorrow. Don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss a day. And like the wise man once said, as always, if you're out on your bike tonight, do wear white.